Welcome to Mr. Siegel's Virtual Anatomy and Physiology, where we are going to work on Chapter 11, the muscles of the human body. And I'm going to click on over to the Canvas site in the modules, and I'm going to scroll down here a little bit and give you an idea of what we will be working on. And then I will provide some guidance, and we will set a date for the test to be online for Chapter 11, the muscle chapter. Now, I'm in the muscle unit on Canvas. I'm in Unit 3, the muscular system. And these are all going to be good worksheets for you to look at and study to memorize the muscles. And I'll be letting you know how we're going to do this test probably later on this week. There are a couple of good documents. This one that says muscle identification page numbers is going to get you in the ballpark with all of the major muscles of the human body and the muscles that you will be responsible for knowing. Notice that on each of the muscles there are 2 page numbers. That is because, as I mentioned throughout the semester, there's 5 things you need to know about each muscle. And those 5 things you need to know about each muscle, you need to know the name of each muscle. And there's some naming criteria that I will post a video about later on today, how to help you to memorize the names of muscles by explaining to you the muscle naming criteria. You also need to know the origin of each muscle. And simply put, that's where the muscle begins. And you also need to know the insertion of each muscle. And that would be the other side of the muscle that's attached to a part of the body that's going to move. The origin of a muscle is the side of the muscle that's attached to a part of the body that's not moving. And the insertion is the side of the muscle that's attached to a moving body part. For example, in your arm, the biceps brachii originates on the scapula and on the head of the humerus. It passes into the acromion process as well as the clavicle. And when you elevate or move your arm, your shoulder isn't moving, it's your arm that's moving. The insertion is that side of the muscle that's actually moving. And I'll also post a couple videos about this, but the easiest way to think about it is like a door that has a spring that automatically shuts the door when you open it. The spring, in my example, is the muscle. And when you open the door, the muscle is extended. And then when you stop holding the door open, then the spring pulls the door shut. The door frame itself is the origin because it's not the frame of the door that's moving. The door, that side of the spring, is going to be the insertion because it's the door that's moving when the spring closes it back up towards the door frame. So the door frame would be the origin and the door would be the insertion. The next thing you need to know about each muscle is the action of the muscle, what it does. And there are always going to be three components to a muscle action. It's going to include an articulation, a type of movement, and then the body part that's moving. Let me give you an example. When I contract my biceps brachii in my arm, my elbow is the joint, the movement is flexion of the forearm at the elbow. So the action of the biceps brachii is to flex forearm at elbow. So that answer had three components for the action of the biceps brachii: the joint, the elbow, the movement flexion, and the body part, the forearm. The next concept is muscles that are within the same group of muscles but do the opposite. They are called oppositional muscles. So I just talked about the biceps brachii, and we said that the biceps brachii flexes the forearm at the elbow. Well, then the opposite is going to be the triceps brachii that extends the forearm at the elbow. We also in lecture, I remember talking about the quads, the quadriceps femoris group on the anterior thigh, as well as the hamstrings. And those are both going to be involved with movements of the thigh and the leg, and they are oppositional muscles to each other. The quads are going to flex the thigh at the hip and extend the leg at the knee, while the hamstrings are going to flex the leg at the knee. More on this in the next video.